Hence it would seem to be open to say that things are in fact non-conventional and therefore non-empty. This would be a deep incoherence indeed at the heart of Nagarjuna's system. But the paradox is merely apparent. The appearance of paradox derives from seeing conventional as functioning logically like a negation operator, a subtle version of the nihilistic reading Nagarjuna is at pains to avoid, with a metalinguistic twist. For then, each iteration of conventional would cancel the previous occurrence, and the conventional character of the fact that things are conventional would amount to the claim that really they are not, or at least that they might not be. But in Nagarjuna's philosophical approach, the sense of the term is more ontological than logical. To say of a phenomenon or of a fact that it is conventional is to characterize its mode of subsistence. It is to say that it is without an independent nature. The fact that a phenomenon is without independent nature is, to be sure, a further phenomenon, a higher order fact. But that fact, too, is without an independent nature. It, too, is merely conventional. This is another way of putting the strongly nominalistic character of Madhyamika philosophy.
So a Platonist, for instance, might urge, and the Madhyamika would agree, that a perceptible phenomenon is ultimately unreal. But the Platonist would assert that its properties are ultimately real. And if some Buddhist-influenced Platonist would note that among the properties of a perceptible phenomenon is its emptiness and its conventional reality, he would assert that these, as properties, are ultimately real. This is exactly where Nagarjuna parts company with all forms of realism. For he gives the properties a nominalistic construal and asserts that they, including the properties of emptiness and conventionality, are, like all phenomena, merely nominal, merely empty, and merely conventional. And so on for their emptiness and conventionality. The nominalism undercuts the negative interpretation of conventional, and thereby renders the regress harmless.
So the doctrine of the emptiness of emptiness can be seen as inextricably linked with Nagarjuna's distinctive account of the relation between the two truths. For Nagarjuna, as is also evident in this crucial verse, it is a mistake to distinguish conventional from ultimate reality, the dependently arisen from emptiness at an ontological level. Emptiness just is the emptiness of conventional phenomena. To perceive conventional phenomena as empty is just to see them as conventional and as dependently arisen. The difference, such as it is between the conventional and the ultimate, is a difference in the way phenomena are conceived/perceived. The point must be formulated with some delicacy and cannot be formulated without a hint of the paradoxical about it. Conventional phenomena are typically represented as inherently existent. We typically perceive and conceive of external phenomena, ourselves, causal powers, moral truths, and so forth as independently existing, intrinsically identifiable, and substantial. But though this is, in one sense, the conventional character of conventional phenomena, the manner in which they are ordinarily experienced, to see them this way is precisely not to see them as conventional. To see that they are merely conventional, in the sense adumbrated above and defended by Nagarjuna and his followers, is thereby to see them as empty, and this is their ultimate mode of existence. These are the two truths about phenomena. On the one hand, they are conventionally existent, and the things we ordinarily say about them are in fact true, to the extent that we get it right on the terms of the everyday. Snow is indeed white, and there are indeed tables and chairs in this room. On the other hand, they are ultimately non-existent. These two truths seem as different as night and day, being and non-being. But the import of this chapter and the doctrine we have been explicating is that their ultimate non-existence and their conventional existence are the same thing. Hence the deep identity of the two truths. And this is because emptiness is not other than dependent arising, and, hence, because emptiness is empty.
Finally, at this stage we can see why Chapter 1 opens the text. The discussion of the emptiness of conditions and their relation to their effects is not only essential groundwork for this central argument, but in fact anticipates it and brings its conclusion to bear implicitly on the whole remainder of the text, allowing us, once we see that, to read the entire text as asserting not only the emptiness of phenomena, but that emptiness understood as empty. To see this, note that this entire account depends upon the emptiness of dependent origination itself. Suppose for a moment that one had the view that dependent arising were non-empty, not a crazy view and not obviously incompatible with, and arguably entailed by, certain Buddhist doctrines. Then from the identification of emptiness with dependent arising would follow the non-emptiness of emptiness. Moreover, if conventional phenomena are empty, and dependent arising itself is non-empty and is identified with emptiness, then the two truths are indeed two in every sense. Emptiness-dependent arising is self-existent, while ordinary phenomena are not, and one gets a strongly dualistic, ontological version of an appearance-reality distinction. So the argument for the emptiness of emptiness in chapter 24 and the identity of the two truths, with which it is bound up, depend critically on the argument for the emptiness of dependent origination developed in chapter 1. Having developed this surprising and deep thesis regarding the identity of the two truths, Nagarjuna turns in the next chapter to the nature of the relation between samsara and nirvana and the nature of nirvana itself.